Hey, welcome to the podcast, Jerel.
Thank you for having me.
For anyone who doesn't know you, who do you say you are?
Um, just a regular guy that happens to be a little smart. Most people know me as a doctor. I mean, it's just something that I do, but now I'm also a dad, so I have multiple facets to my identity. So,
Awesome. And how did you I know we met 5, 6 years ago, and it's been a while since we've seen each other in person, so doing this virtual. But how did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about that.
my parents immigrated from Trinidad and Tobago, and they settled down in Miami. I was born in Miami, and then moved to the outskirts of Miami in the suburbs once my mom became a nurse.
Mm.
Um, middle class, not too crazy. I mean, of course, kids will be kids and you get into trouble, you have your rough patches, but I'd say all in all, I had a decent childhood.
That's what's up. I guess what made you decide to become a doctor?
Um, when I was a little kid, I told my dad I wanted to be a chemist and an astronomist, and he said that they don't make no money with it. So, you know, that's kind of how it started.
Mhm.
But more particularly, I knew I was going to become a hematologist oncologist just because of personal experiences. I have a blood disorder, I clot easily. And then my grandmother died from a clot, and my grandfather died from colon cancer. So it was just
Mm.
one of those things where it started to feel more like a calling since I was told I had to be a doctor anyway. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And I guess when you decided on that, like, how'd you pursue school, or what was it? Did you stay out of trouble more, or did you get into a little bit more trouble before going, like, focusing on school?
I was always into the books. I mean, my dad looks like an NFL defensive tackle, so like it was intimidating. So I stayed in my books, but it kind of hung out with the wrong crowd. Sometimes got into fights, different things like that. But I always stayed focused on my grades. People would make fun of me for going to class on time and studying and all that. But
Mhm.
now those same people that used to make fun of me are like, man, you really did what you said you was gonna do. Yeah.
That's what's up. So then, what was college like for you when you decided to pursue becoming a doctor?
I mean, college, I'd say the first half of college was a little tough, just going through all the basic sciences and stuff like that. And then I even ended up changing my major because when I started college, that this was during the recession and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and everybody around me was struggling financially. So I decided to pursue finance and still go to med school, and everybody thought that was kind of crazy,
Mm.
like to do both. But it paid dividends, and I got into med school. And I mean, the second half of college, I mean, after I finished all my basic sciences, I just kind of let loose, joined the organization with similar like-minded people from the Caribbean, and gained fellowship. I'm not gonna lie, partied, had a good time, lots of drunken nights, but it was worth it.
Yeah. So I guess how did finance pay off?
Oh, finance paid off big time just because now I joined a private practice, and in order for a private practice to stay afloat, you got to understand the business, and then it allows people not to take advantage of me. And I'm already understanding how to save for retirement, decrease my taxable income, and just avoiding the mistakes that my family has made because it's not something that was really taught in the Black community. So I took it upon myself to know that I wasn't going to struggle and basically achieve the quote unquote American dream by having financial independence and financial literacy. So
Mm.
now that my income has increased, I'm not just focused on spending it, but learning how to make that work for me so I don't have to work as a doctor forever, even though, it's more of a passion anyway. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what's up. And I guess about the time that we met, you were finishing up your residency.
Yeah, when you met me, I was still in the trenches, residency, 80-hour work week, 6 days
Mm.
a week, night shifts, all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that residency sucked. And you know, we kind of got disconnected because of COVID, so I went through all of that too, on the front lines
Mm.
with COVID. So half of my residency was really just treating people with COVID. So
Man. What
yeah.
was that like?
Oh man, it was the worst experience of my life. I mean, I had to go to therapy after that. Like the amount of people that was dying and dropping like flies, it was like nothing I've ever seen before. Like I was like, I don't know if I signed up for this. And everybody was like, when you become a doctor, I was like, yeah, when you become a doctor, you sign up to save people. But this was different. Like,
Right.
so it was just one of those things. You go to work every day, you don't know if you're next, if you're
Right.
gonna drop dead. So it was one of, yeah, it was. It's definitely not something that I want to experience again. So.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned that, and like even thinking about it, like you go to treat someone and you don't know if they're going to make it through the night or anything of that sort
Mhm.
and all the complications they may have. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm glad I chose engineering because I don't know how I would feel mentally, like you kind of mentioned, like knowing that someone might be there one day and then the next, and then you can't stay stuck on that. You've got to like attend to other patients. And on top of that, you guys are almost like indentured servants because they're not really paying you much. Like
Exactly.
one of my,
They're calling it education. That's the excuse. That's the excuse for the salary, but nobody knew how to treat COVID back then. So
mm,
it's like really and truly, we were all learning at the same time. So if it's
right,
something new, I should be getting paid as the person that's supposed to be experienced, but
mm,
they have the same amount of experience as me with this disease. So,
mm,
and I mean, unfortunately, it's one of those mentalities when somebody dies, it's like, all right, on to the next one because, there's always going to be another sick person.
mm.
And
I guess what's something that you learned from, I guess, that residency experience, because like you described it, you were going through the trenches, but at the same time you thought, hey, I should be taking care of my health, like start working out, get healthy and things like that. Like what was that process for you, or what did that do for
yeah, I
you?
mean, really and truly, it just taught me like, I shouldn't just be spending all my time working just to die.
Mm,
I should also be living. Like medicine isn't my life; it's a part of my life, and
mm,
there's more to it. But the field of medicine is so toxic. We're conditioned to, you know, not sleeping, working hard, and forgetting about self. But it's like at the end of the day, if you don't have self, how can you help anybody else? So,
mm.
yeah.
Got you. And how did you um how did you meet your wife and like decide to, okay, I need to start building a family. Like I've got to start thinking about myself, thinking for the future, not just, hey, let me get out of college debt, so to speak.
I mean, my first year in Augusta, I was just kind of, you know, first year as a doctor, I was like, let me have some fun. But then after a while, it was just like, wasn't really fulfilling. And
Mhm.
it took a lot of work to entertain multiple people. So I was on Bumble and, my radius was stretched out to Columbia, South Carolina, and my wife swiped on me and initiated a conversation. We linked up, and the rest was history. She followed me to Florida, where I completed my specialty at Moffitt Cancer Center. Got married, and somehow ended up with twin baby girls. Wasn't
Wow.
expecting that part, but yeah,
What's that been like?
man, I'm a walking zombie. Walking zombie. No sleep. I mean, it's rewarding. I look at them like, man, I created these two human beings. Like, I can't believe it's two human beings, but
Hmm.
it's a lot of work. People don't tell you about. the things you have to deal with, like sleep training, teething.
Mhm.
This everybody just fronts on social media like my whole heart, my world, everything. And it's like, man, sometimes they be waking me up in the middle of the night. I be saying some things in my head, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I love them, but it's a lot. Like I want a son, but I don't know. It might not.
I think I've heard it said sometimes that the wild ones sometimes got to be tamed back by the God gives you girls just to be like, hey,
Yeah.
here you
And I was
go.
like, I don't think I was that wild. I'm like, man, I said, what type of karma is this? I thought I was pretty modest, you know?
Heck, I mean, uh, who's to say? I guess maybe when it's my turn, it'd just be like, well, you you got to take care of these girls as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what's life like nowadays? Like what are you getting into? How's it feel to be back in Florida as a comparison as it was to be in Georgia?
I mean, I'm always gonna be a Florida boy. I mean, I spent the last 3 years in Tampa. The
Mm,
Gulf Coast is different than the East Coast. I'm originally from the East Coast, which is South Florida now. I'm on the outskirts of South Florida now in
mm,
what's called the Treasure Coast. I mean, it's cool, but I haven't really had time to dabble in much, like, with young babies, new job, new house, and then I'll
mm,
study for my boards. It's really just wake up at 5:30, round in the hospital, go to clinic, see patients, come home, be a dad, and do it all over again.
yeah.
So still trying to find a good gym home. For some reason, there's no gym within 15 to 20 minutes of where I live, so I'm gonna have to find something on the outside, and then it's hard to find that nice hardcore nature, and not the play Planet Fitness or something like that. But so right now it's really just trying to do a good job being a dad, being a husband, and being a new young doctor in a private practice with a whole bunch of old Caucasian folks. Yeah.
I guess, but like I was thinking, I remember working out once with a friend. I think you met my friend that worked out with us a couple of times, but she'd found someone out of California, and he was pretty good doing like virtual training. I don't know if Darnell had ever got into like the virtual side of training, but I guess it's a little different. But at
Yeah,
least
it's a
having
little
someone
different.
there with you,
I need
it's
somebody in my face cussing at me and grabbing the weight. Like virtual is cool, but like I need
yeah,
that. You need to do this. Get that up. Like so.
right, got you. So I mean, what's your routine been like this year? Like like you kind of described it, has it been your newborns are 5 months, so it's been like just you've been getting it.
Yeah, I mean, since they were born, like the gym hasn't seen me much. It's impossible because my wife watches them at night, and then I can't expect her to watch them all the time during the day too.
Mm,
So it's like once they start sleeping more at night, then it's like I'll be able to like break off and go to the gym during the day. So things have kind of been at like a standstill. But
mm,
you know, we they're almost 6 months now, so they should be settling down. So hoping to get into a routine. I mean, I've only lived in this area for 3 months, so
mm.
you know.
Gotcha. Probably, I mean, a year from now, you look back and just be like, man, I got through that. It's like you got through medical school, you got through your boards, you got through new
Yeah, I mean,
environments and all this, and it's just
having
like,
babies definitely feels like going through residency again. Yeah.
that's awesome. So, what have you looked forward to so far this year, or what's been kind of like a surprise for you?
Well, I mean, it's not really a surprise, but finishing fellowship and actually starting my career, like, it's kind of nice to not just constantly have to stare at my bank account. Like, it's a different type of feeling. Like, I used to be stressed,
Mm,
paycheck to paycheck, but now it's like, I was like, oh, okay, I got paid today. And then my job has so many perks, like, they contribute money every month for my car and all that stuff. So I got a new car. So, like, even though I'll be tired, I enjoy driving everywhere because now I love my car. So it's like,
nice.
it's just like really adjusting to like, I'm my own boss. Like I walk into work and everybody's like, "Good morning, Dr. David," and they be like, "Do you need anything? Can I bring you coffee?" And I'm not used to that because I've just been so used to doing stuff for myself my whole life and being a peon in the system of academia, but now it's like I'm here, you know.
Mm,
So it's yeah, it's different.
that's what's up. Man, I guess it's got to be because when you're in residency, they're probably paying you guys like below minimum wage. What is it, a dollar,
They pay
two
below
dollars to
minimum
work 80
wage,
hours?
and then people are just like, "Oh, that's just a resident." It's like I got a whole MD degree. It don't matter if I'm in training or not,
Right.
like you know. But that's just how it goes, you
Mm.
know.
Is there anything you miss about the Augusta area, that South Carolina, East Georgia area?
Yeah, I mean, when I was there, I met so many people that I considered friends for life. Like there were a lot of surprisingly young black professionals in Augusta, and
Mm.
you know, I feel like the fellowship there was unmatched. Especially you know when we used to work out and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I had other friends, and then you know, I felt like there were a lot of hidden gems as far as food places and everything, and then the pace and the speed. Like it was cool, like for what it was. Um, you know, if my group of people still lived there, I wouldn't
Mhm.
have a problem still being there, you know.
Right.
Things change. So
Yeah. I guess the area is kind of transient a good bit because like you have a lot of military people, a lot of people
mhm.
coming through medical school and
Yeah,
nuclear and other things like that in the area.
yeah, so nothing ever stays the same.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's a good life lesson for change. And now it's like being in the environment where you're at. Like, have you guys started looking into like family groups and things like that?
I mean, my wife's sister lives here, so like, you know, she hangs out with her. My sister lives like an hour away.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I just be so busy working, I haven't looked into anything. I'm just honestly waiting to take some vacation,
Yeah.
chill.
You got a place picked out or anything?
Um,
Or you
trying to
got it
see.
marked on the calendar maybe?
I mean, trying to go to Jamaica in April, trying to see if I can get the baby's passports to go. I
Mhm.
mean, they need to prove to me they can travel. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to find somebody to take care of them. 'Cause, yeah.
Gotcha. But you were saying Charleston maybe as well?
Oh no, not Charleston.
Gotcha. Why you say it like that?
Ain't nothing in Charleston.
You've been there too many times. It's like,
Yeah.
been there, done that.
Been there, done that. But been did all of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that, hmm. When did you end up leaving the Augusta area? It was like after the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, my residency was done June 2021, and I started fellowship in Tampa July 2021. So, you know, didn't leave by choice. Well, kind of left by choice because I could have chose to do my fellowship in Augusta, but
Mhm.
you know,
Just
like
change of scenery.
I mean, I was ready to come back to the state of Florida, and you know, Moffitt Cancer Center is one of the best cancer centers in the country, so couldn't pass up the opportunity to get premium training. So,
Yeah. I guess what's training been like for you?
I mean, I loved the fellowship. Fellowship was great. It was finally got to do what I wanted to do,
Mm.
which is you know, learn about cancer and treat cancer, and got to work alongside world-renowned experts and see the latest and greatest of things. And you know, I feel like I was well trained coming out and going into private practice because I felt like I was already ready to handle anything that came my way. So
Mm.
yeah.
And I guess how much more different is it than like going through like the pandemic times where it's like you handled the unknown and now you're kind of getting into something that's got a little bit more legs under it. I guess sometimes it seems like there's all different forms of cancers, but obviously I think there are more treatments or just different modalities that people use and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely when I came out of residency and my first year of fellowship, it was like a completely different language. Like the more so specialized you get, it's like crazy. What people don't realize is that even within this specialty, people are specialized. There's some doctors out there that only see lung cancer, or only see colon cancer, or
Mm,
only see leukemia. Me, I'm in community practice, so you have to be a Swiss Army knife and be able to see everything. So it
mm,
can be a bit challenging and overwhelming. And every day there's a new FDA approval. You got to stay up to date and read it. So it's kind of hard. And I mean, dealing with all the complications and side effects that come with the medications.
mm.
And everybody expects you to know everything about everything, but it's just not possible, you
Right.
know. And it's just like, I just know my limitations. I trained at Moffitt. If I don't know how to treat something, I send a text. Hey, I got this patient with this. What do you do about it?
Mm. I guess do you guys keep like a doctor's network where you like trade ideas and things like
Yeah,
that?
you got to because not no one person has all the answers. It's just too complicated, you know.
Gotcha. So I guess when you when you tell people you're a doctor, or if somebody finds out you're a doctor, they start being like, oh, this hurts over here. Hey, can
Man,
take a look at this?
even co-workers like assistants and techs at my job, they're telling me this like, Dr. David, I have this problem. What do you think is going on? And I'm like, you do realize I'm an oncologist, right? And you're asking me like general medicine questions. But yeah,
Mm.
people do it all the time.
You ever give them any funny answers?
Uh, I mean, talk to your PCP, not me. You know, that's always my go-to line. Even when patients come to my clinic and they talking about something that's irrelevant to my specialty, I'm like, dang, that's tough. You should talk to your PCP about that.
Mm.
Yeah,
And what's PCP?
primary care provider.
Gotcha.
It used to be primary care physician,
Mm.
but since there's a shortage in physicians, now they're replacing physicians with mid-level care. I ain't trying to say nothing controversial on this podcast. Take it with what you want to take it as. So,
Right.
yeah.
Do you feel like more people are getting into medicine, or like are you starting to see residents coming your way, or like being on the flip side now?
I mean, I feel like I feel like not as many people are inclined to go into medicine, but then at the same time, there's not enough residency spots
Mm.
because year after year there are people that go unmatched and don't have a job, and it's not helping address the future doctor shortage that we have. The government
Mm.
is responsible for the amount of residency spots we have. I mean, if they really cared, they fund more residency spots, but you know.
I guess how does that work? It's like the is there like there's a governing body that says, okay, we need this many doctors or doctors in practice to be going here in order to replace the doctors that are aging out.
You would think, but I don't know the nuances, and I don't think they're really accounting for that, especially since the baby boomer generation is retiring.
Mm.
And, I mean, it takes 13 years to train a doctor.
Jeez.
It's, I mean, my training was 17 years, but it takes 13 years on average to train a doctor. So,
Yeah.
you know, there should be more urgency to address the need, but they're just trying to do the shortcuts and replace us with people that get their degrees online. But,
Mm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess do you feel like did a lot of people you started out with have they stayed in the being a doctor, or have people kind of like fallen out of love with being a doctor, just being like,
I
this isn't it?
mean, everyone stayed because when you got a mortgage and education, you got to pay it back, and this is the only way to pay it back. So,
Right.
you know, that was our thank you for putting our lives on the line during COVID. You can
Mm.
keep paying back your debt. Thanks. Yeah.
Is there anything people misunderstand about you, or in general, or just what being a doctor or an oncologist is about?
Yeah, all the time. Everybody thinks I have the cure for cancer and I'm just trying to make money and this and that and the other. And, I'm just like, bro, I don't get money for pushing any drug from a pharmaceutical company. Like, pharmaceutical companies make their own money the way they do. And it's like cancer is not one thing. It's a spectrum. It's an umbrella of different things. So when everybody says, "Oh, they have the cure for cancer," what does that even mean? Like,
Mm,
there's so many different types of cancers. So, you know, like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, big pharma, you guys, if you stop treating people, then you won't make money and this and then the other." It's like that's not really the case, but okay, you know.
mhm.
So,
So it's like, I guess labeling things makes it easier for people to maybe say, okay, hey, this is the column to argue A or B or C or
mhm.
whatever, but it's like you kind of missing the forest, but is it the trees before the forest, where it's like you kind of missing the point of what it is that we do and what it is that we can and can't do.
Yeah. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, if you want me to help you, I'll help you. It's not like I'm not gonna stop you from, doing your alternative stuff and going to Mexico and get treated.
Mhm.
That happens a lot too.
What's
People people come to us after they went to Mexico for their holistic whatever therapy, and
mhm.
unfortunately, it's too late at times. But
Have you seen that go right or wrong in some cases?
I've seen it go wrong every single time. Every
Hmm.
single time.
Got you.
I'm like, where are these people walking around being cured from cancer? If they got, show me,
Hmm.
like every
I,
single time. And
I
I don't
guess.
know how they get away with it. It should be illegal,
Mhm.
manipulating people and killing them. But you know,
Well, I mean, like I feel like maybe it's been since 2000 or 2019, like TikTok became a big thing, and then it's
the
like,
TikTok University. That's what
yeah.
I.
So it's like everybody on there seems to have an opinion about something, or you have like experts just
And
popping out
they're
of the
experts.
woodworks.
Even my wife is a subscriber to TikTok University and comes to me with noise, and I'm like, you really gonna come to me, your husband, that's a well-versed physician scientist that reads peer-reviewed journals and is published, and tell me about a TikTok video.
Mm.
But you know, hey,
You try to wade through any of that, or do you kind of just like turn the volume down on it?
I just
Because,
turn the volume down because it's like, you know, doctor is by default the enemy. So
mm, mm. It, it's it's interesting because I think I jumped on TikTok for maybe like the first year, and then there was talks of like whether it's like a back channel for data, how would you say, like data theft and things like that. But obviously we kind of volunteer our information through any
mhm.
social media platform, and then that gets farmed out to whoever it gets farmed out to. But it seemed like people got a bit upset when you had doctors or nurses doing like TikTok dances, and it's like, are you treating the patients, or are you like in the bathroom dancing, or are you guys doing like a Congo line or something? And then you had
Man,
like,
people want you to be a robot. You ain't supposed to have fun.
right.
We're held to a higher standard than the president of the United States. Like it's funny.
Yeah. It's kind of like what is it? It's like you get so used to seeing somebody in like a certain role when you see them out of place. Like I remember going to a car dealership and the manager was there and maybe spoke to him briefly about getting some hubcaps. And then I think, where was I the next morning? I was like at a store or something, and I saw him walk in the store, and it just like seemed strange. It's almost like seeing your teacher at the grocery
Hmm.
store, and you're like, wait, you grocery shop too, or wait,
Yeah, that's really
you
what
have
it is.
leisure
It's
time
like
too?
that's really what it is. It's like a an aura that people expect you to have and carry, and like you're not a human. It's like I pull up the work bumping Jeezy. Like
Mm,
that's what I do. Like,
yeah.
mhm.
Have you feel like anyone has learned anything from you, like in working with you, like how they maybe saw you before versus like how they receive you now? Or do more people kind of meet you with the judgment of like, oh, well, I thought because you look like this or because you listen to this, like this is how I expected you. But now, oh, like there's more to you than meets the eye.
I think just in this field in general, being me.
Mm-hmm.
is an eye-opening experience for people because there is not too many black doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everywhere I go, I've been the only black person. In my fellowship of 33 fellows, there were more Asian women in my
Mm-hmm.
program than there were black people, and I was the only black person. So I was everybody's first encounter with a black person in a medical setting,
Mm-hmm.
and so it really opened a lot of people's eyes. And then they didn't realize, like, oh, I can listen to trap music and I can code switch and spit that knowledge too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really showing people's eyes that there's not a box for what a physician should be. And, I definitely challenge that stereotype in that box more than most people just because it's unconventional to even have somebody like me around. So,
Mm-hmm.
even at my job right now, my practice was founded by old white Jewish men. And
Mm-hmm.
they hired this young black boy to come in and join their practice. Every day
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what am I doing here? They said they're glad they hired me. I'm doing a great job, so it's just like it is what it is. We make it work.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah. I guess what is the um do you guys have like a mentor mentee relationship, or what's that like for you?
I mean, I kind of do my own thing,
Mm-hmm.
but we all bouncing ideas off of each other with different patients. Because, like, since I'm younger, I'm more up to date with the latest and greatest treatments.
Mm-hmm.
They're more up to date just with how to practice and do things right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a mutually beneficial relationship. It's not really mentor mentee
Mm-hmm.
type thing. It's like
Right.
you're your own boss. I'm my own boss. I got you if you need help with this. Like.
Got you. Like have you had to, or have you looked into that throughout your career, whether it was like while you were in school or looking for direction to say, okay, hey, like I'm thinking of going this direction, or is that something you leaned on more so with your dad, even though like he's in engineering, you're in the doctor field?
No, I mean, honestly, I just always done my own thing. I was the first to do everything and just figure it out. So, um, you know, I ain't really have nobody to show me the way. I just did
Gotcha.
it.
Is that something you wanted, or did you enjoy being able to go
No,
at it
I mean, I
on
wish
your
that
own?
there was somebody else to look up to in this field, but you just don't come across too many people.
Mhm.
It's,
Do you find yourself maybe going to conferences later, or I guess do you guys have those a lot, like where they
Yeah,
just do
go to
like
conferences.
general?
I've been to different conferences. I'm going to the big oncology conference in Chicago next summer and stuff. Like, I'm not trying to be a speaker at anything.
You
Some
say that
people,
now, but let me
yeah,
see you in a couple months just up there grabbing the mic. It's like, well,
yeah.
this is what we got going on over here, and if you look over
Uh,
there.
some people want to be the next great renowned expert of whatever disease. Me, I don't want to be the next great nothing to nothing. I just want to see patients, go home, and spend time with my family.
Mm,
I would tell people, I was like, I ain't never met nobody a day in my life that's been on their deathbed and said, damn, I wish I published more papers.
mm,
Like, I am tired of the CV rat race. I'm tired of trying to fill up my resume and prove that I am worthy and this and that and the other. It's like that game's over. Like, I
mm,
just want to live. So
mm. I feel you with that.
yeah.
Do you make any Halloween plans or any holiday plans? You just,
No, I mean my kids we're too small to trick or treat, and their bedtime's like 6:37. So
oh,
if I tried to mess that up, it would have been a disaster. So I
right,
put them
right.
down to sleep, and I'm like, man, I might as well get some sleep too. And that was it. No trick or treaters, no nothing. But
Yeah.
we're not having Thanksgiving this year since it'll be their first Thanksgiving, and you know all their cousins and family come over and whatnot. So I'm working on Christmas, New Gun Chronicles. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess you're not trying to introduce candy to a 5-year-old. It's like, no, you got enough energy as it is.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Where you at now anyway?
I'm in South Georgia. I actually went down to Tampa I think it may have been Tampa or St. Pete back in June. Just did like a
Uh,
short couple
I
day
had
trip.
moved. I had moved in June.
Mm. So
Yeah,
I might have just like just missed you.
you just missed me. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been down here in South Georgia about 3 years. Did a, like still civil engineering, but a different side of it, working with like foundation design and really getting to play with in dirt and just being able to spend time to understand, okay, this is how we classify soils, kind of like we did in our labs in college, and then understanding different properties that come into place when you're going to put something or install something. It's like water can be an issue, clays can be an issue, and then getting something to sit right and just giving yourself enough information to kind of interpret what's going on. But it's funny when things like dirt or soil are very vague, but like
Mhm.
once you get some intel or and then you get to bounce ideas off of like professionals, senior members that have been doing it for like 20 plus years. And it's like, okay, it doesn't seem so bad. Like at first you're just sitting here mixed like moving the dirt around in your hands. You're like, what is this? Is this sand? Is this clay? Is this silt? Like, what does this mean? And you go through so many bags and bags and bags, and you're just like, okay. But it's been fun traveling around basically every corner of Georgia and getting a chance to see life a little different on the road, having a little bit more time of freedom, being able to be a little bit more flexible, not as much high pressure stress, but being able to have that reward of start a project, finish a project, like not have the headache of or the I don't know if I'd say the headache or just like you have deadlines and things like that you got to deal with. But
Yeah, trying to meet those demands. I feel you.
yeah,
And I feel the same way. I'm just glad to be out of academia. It's just me. I just
yeah.
do my thing at my own pace. So
If you had to do it again the same way, would you, or would you change anything going through the process?
I probably wouldn't have become a doctor.
Mm,
But, you know, I mean, hindsight being 2020, it's a tough process, and I'm not gonna force my kids to go through it. Like, you really gotta want to do this thing to do it. It's rough. I saw my 20s fly by me. I
mm,
started med school when I was 24 years old. I woke up and now I'm 35, and I'm like, where did my 20s go? I
mm.
spent most of my 20s studying
Yeah.
day in, day out for an end goal, and I'm like, just seeing now I see people die every day, and I ask myself the question like, was it worth it giving up that so much of my life for this?
Mhm.
Then somebody's got to do it. So
Yeah. It, I feel like you're maybe the second practicing doctor that I've met, like working in different fields, but it is that same point where it's like you've got at least 13 years of school that you have to do. So by the time that you're out and about having a family and things like that, it's that time really doesn't wait for you and you've got to
mhm.
make hay while the sun shines. And then you keep practicing over time to just keep fresh. And like you talk about being able to research different things, keep up with what's current. And I guess what do you do to not get bogged down in like all the reading research? Like, how do you balance getting the information you need and then staying up on like current practices?
Well, I'm still figuring it out now that I'm in the real world. Like, I had the luxury of being in an academic atmosphere for, over a decade. So the information was just given to me, but now like I have to figure out where in my day to day do I stay updated on information. And I mean, I subscribe to all of these journals and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I'll get an email and it's like breaking news: the FDA has just approved this, and so I'll click on it and read it. But now it's really just sometimes I have a group chat with some of my friends from training, and when I'm about to treat somebody, I'll be like, hey, is there anything new on this? Or are we still doing this? So it's kind of just like freestyling it.
Mhm. Mhm. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
What's something? aside from the vacation, what's something you're looking forward to in 2025?
Mm, I'm just looking forward to when my kids start walking. Right now it's a pain to carry them everywhere, and they don't really sit up or anything like that right now. They're just starting to sit up in rows, so it'll be cool to like walk and have them walk behind me. And I mean, I know they probably won't go far, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah. So just looking forward to watching them grow up. You know,
That's dope.
then I'll be able to sleep more.
Yeah. Well, do you keep a social media presence, or do you how would you want people to get in touch with you if you do?
I mean, I still got my what's it called now? X. I got my X. I'm not really a medical social media influencer like these people that be out here promoting scrubs and doing the dance. I'm not that guy. I'm just a regular guy. I
Mhm.
don't be talking about nothing. I be talking about sports and you know, try not to talk about politics too much because it's crazy out here. I did
Yeah.
vote today, though, but you know how that is.
Yeah.
Uh, and still got my Instagram. I think that's it. Yeah, I got my Instagram and I got my ex, So yeah, yeah.
Got you. Are you keeping up with the college teams or the NFL, which is your go-to?
Oh, I watch both. I mean, after I get off this call, I'm about to go watch some football. Like today's a Georgia Florida game. Oh,
Uh-oh.
this is about to be a good one. So yeah,
How do you think it's going to work out with this is it 12 team playoff bracket they got going?
I'm looking forward to it. Like I used to hate the 14 bracket. Like I think it's more exciting now. I mean, the transfer portal has changed everything. Like teams that used to suck can instantly become good. There's so much more parity. Like it's great. Like it's been the best year of college football.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now that you mention it, I might go down the Wild Wings or maybe find a sports bar to get out of the house and go watch some football.
Go enjoy that game. Like
What do you know when they play? What time?
3:30. I think that's
Okay. Oh, well, let's wrap it up.
up to I think it's 3:30.
Yeah,
Yeah. What? And Duke is beating Miami. See, too many good games right now.
man. Well, it's funny because next weekend I'm going with a couple of guys from college. We've been trying to go back to our campus, our alma mater, and watch, and it's going to be Tech playing Miami next week. So
Oh,
maybe
really?
if Duke beats up on them this week, they'll be more susceptible to us next week.
Okay. Yeah. Well, looks like Miami's back up 39-31. So,
Oh man, it's a
yeah.
shootout over there.
Yeah. But Miami doesn't have a defense, so that's what it is. But yeah, that's all I do, man. I come home, watch football on the weekends. I put 120 in my lap, one in the
Mhm.
chair, rocking. I try to watch football. Like,
That sounds like a good afternoon.
yeah.
Well, let me get you out with this question. Are you still who you said you were?
Yeah, I think so. Ain't nothing changed. The bank account changed a little bit, but I'm still the same person.
Nice. Well, until we get to catch up again, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, Jerel.
All right, take it easy, buddy.
Thank you.